Hey everyone, welcome back. The other day I finally got a chance to see Spider-Man Homecoming, and it was so good. I've always said I was a DC fan, but Spider-Man was kind of like the odd one out, because when I was a little kid there was a Spider-Man animated series, and I loved that show. It was right up there with Batman and Superman and everything else that I watched as a kid. Spider-Man was about the only Marvel hero that I was really familiar with before the Avengers movies started coming out. So Spider-Man has always been one of my favorite superheroes. I loved all the movies that have come before. I love the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. I love the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man. I know there's different ones that have their haters, but if you have a good story with good actors, there's a pretty good chance I'll like it, no matter what the critics are saying about it. I even liked Spider-Man 3, but Spider-Man Homecoming was so different and so much more true to who Spider-Man is. He's actually a kid in this version. He's only 15. He's trying to juggle going to school and being a superhero, and I love the fact that he was bad at being a superhero. Like, terribly bad. You had the whole thing with him trying to go through the suburbs. He's knocking down fences. He accidentally knocked a treehouse out of the tree. He was absolutely awful at being a superhero, and I loved it. He didn't just get bit by the spider and suddenly he's great at everything. And it didn't even have the backstory. He just kind of mentioned that he got bit by a spider. His Uncle Ben wasn't in the movie, and I liked that. If you know the characters, you know what happens, you don't need to retread it, and I'm glad they didn't. I did, however, love how they did choose to open it with the flashback of him having vlogged the entire fight that happened in Captain America Civil War. That was a stroke of genius, because if you haven't seen that movie, it fills you in on what happened, and if you have seen it, it adds a whole nother dimension of hilarity to it. And that's another thing I liked about this movie. It was so funny. It played off like a teen comedy, but starring a superhero. Just the feel of it, the characters felt like real kids. Also, the villain, Michael Keaton as the Vulture, he was so good. I thought that the fact that they used the Vulture persona as not just the wings that he was wearing, but like he scavenges old tech and makes new stuff out of it. It's a different twist on what a scavenger like a vulture would do, and I thought that was kind of brilliant. And I know a lot of people were upset that Tony Stark played a big role in the movie, but I thought he had just enough of a presence, and I liked his role, and I don't really have a problem with him being the one who made Spider-Man's suit. Peter Parker's obviously smart enough on his own. The fact that Tony put together a better suit than he did does not mean that Peter is not smart. A lot of people were complaining about the fact that so many things have been changed, but I don't really care, because I've seen this story many times in different ways, and I appreciate the fact that they put a new spin on it. I appreciate the fact that not all the same characters are there. They've modified them, brought in new ones, and I think that that is a great way to approach this series. And I just like that this one can stand on its own and be its own thing. Well, that's all for this video. I will be back with 2 videos on Wednesday, and then this weekend I'm going to finally see Valerian, so look for my review either at the end of this week or beginning of next week. I'll see you then. Bye.